Hello and welcome to the Smart Connections podcast and the Talk the Path podcast. My name is Anna Sanderlin. I am a warm line facilitator for the University of Memphis Smart Center. The University of Memphis School of Social Work Smart Research, Training, and Treatment Center aims to provide evidence-based interventions for school-based mental health programming, increase access for school-based behavioral health programming in underserved areas, offer training on best practices in telebehavioral health, develop opportunities to research the use of technology in practice, and provide direct services to the state's most vulnerable populations. You can call the Smart Center at 901-678-1636. The University of Memphis Smart Center, in conjunction with the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, would like to present the Pathways to Behavioral Health Careers Project. The goals of the Pathways Project are to provide education and information on the various career opportunities in the field of behavioral health through presentations, increase interest in students in the field of behavioral health, provide opportunities for guidance with information regarding college, university programming that result in degrees for professions in the field of behavioral health, connect students with students in behavioral health programs and professionals in the field for further research. This podcast will feature students and professionals in the field to give a clear picture of the daily duties of these roles and how they help support their communities.
Well, my name is Becca Ward. I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I do have my doctorate as well, but that's not required to practice as a nurse practitioner. I started my career doing an associate degree in nursing. I graduated from there, went on to my bachelor's program, and subsequently got my master's in 2012, and then got my doctorate later on as I was practicing as a nurse practitioner. So kind of went the long route with my education because they did not have all of those fancy programs when I went to school. So I currently practice in Johnson City, Tennessee. I work at Turning Point, which is a division of Frontier Health. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We provide crisis services for those in mental health crisis, as well as detox substance use services and 28-day residential programs for both men and women.
So it sounds like you were juggling school and being a nurse at the same time. How difficult was
that? It was really difficult. Looking back on it now, I kind of think, how did I do that? But I think when you really have a passion for something and you have that drive that, anything is possible. It was difficult. I was working. Actually, I was doing clinicals from 8 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday, and then I would work 3 to 11. So it was kind of crazy, but I knew that the end would be worth it. So that's kind of what kept me going through that.
Mm-hmm. And it was definitely worth it. The role you're in, the things that you're doing, people you're helping, it's definitely worth it. All the work you put in.
Yeah, absolutely. So. I can't imagine doing anything else. So. It's really nice to love going into your job because you spend so much time, in your career. And I can't imagine having to do something that I wasn't called to do or wasn't passionate about, because it's not a chore to come in and work when you love it.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. I'm still in shock about your schedule and just that dedication and that drive to just go ahead and stick to it. Those daily sacrifices definitely make a difference in our long-term goals. So kudos to you for being able to stick to it and just accomplish everything that you wanted to. So with that being said, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey to your career path?
Sure. So I always say I wasn't called to be a nurse. Nursing kind of called me to do it. I graduated high school when I was 17, and, it's hard to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. So I knew I wanted to do something in the mental health field. because my grandfather actually died by suicide when I was very young. And then I watched my grandmother struggle with mental health issues throughout her life. So, and I saw the lack of services and care that were offered to her. And I knew that that was something that I wanted to eventually get involved in. So I started, at first I'm like, I want to go to medical school. And then I quickly thought, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to just get my associates in psychology and then see where that leads me. So I did that. And then I thought, what could I do that is not medical school, but is similar? And at that time, nurse practitioners were really like becoming like the popular choice of providers. So I thought, look and see like if I can specialize in mental health if I go this route. So at the time, there was only 2 programs. I grew up in Indiana, and there were only 2 psychiatric nurse practitioner programs in the state. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I became a nurse and worked and got that experience as I continued on through school. So I had to drive when I did my master's. The campus was 2.5 hours from where I lived. So I had to drive like once a week to the campus to go to the classes. So, now they have everything online, which I think is awesome. It provides the opportunity for a lot more people to be able to do this if they choose, that's what they want to do. But back in 2012, which really isn't even that long ago, it was just, not something that you had available.
Wow. 2.5 hours.
Yes.
You're dedicated.
That is dedication.
I knew what I wanted at that point. So I had to do it, whatever I had to do to get it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you said nursing basically drew you in. Did you always know you wanted to be a nurse after gaining your associates?
I didn't necessarily, when I started the nursing program, it wasn't really something that I was like, oh, I've wanted to do this my entire life. It was something that I started and I thought, okay, I could see myself making a career of this. And then I just became so passionate about it that it kind of just called to me. Like it was not anything that I'd ever really considered. Because like I said, I thought I'll just go to med school. That's the only way that you're able to really do what I wanted to do at that point. So I'm really thankful that nursing kind of provided me that alternative path. I feel like it gave me like a more holistic educational experience, and that translates into my practice now, like looking at the whole person instead of a lot of medical schools train just looking at the problem instead of the whole person. And so I'm really thankful that nursing kind of has those underpinnings of being holistic and just looking at the individual. So I feel like that's really made such a difference in the way that I'm able to like interact with my clients now and treat them.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So based on what I've heard from you so far, I feel like this next question is going to be really unnecessary because it seems like you're just in the perfect position in what you aspire to do. So this next question is, if you could go back in time, would you have taken a different pathway? Why or why not?
I don't think so. I feel like the first few years out of high school, I was kind of lost, like finding like, exactly what I wanted to do, but it really led me down the road that I eventually took. And I can't imagine having any other career other than what I have now.
And you worked really hard for it. So it's just really admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, it took longer, for me to kind of figure that out. But it was worth that time. Because I was also able, to do like a lot of soul searching and really figure out like, this is what I want to do, not end up in something that I didn't enjoy.
Right. That's a big factor as well. A lot of people don't take into account that this is going to be something that you're going to do for the rest of your life. So maybe have some kind of passion or connection to it. And it definitely makes it easier when you have a personal connection to it, or that yearning of wanting to just help people overcome certain issues. Even for myself, starting off, I was interested in working with the geriatric community. And I experienced a friend committing suicide, and that made me want to dive more into mental health. And just ultimately, now my goal is to have my own practice. So again, it's just so many things that can happen along the way that can just shift the way that we want to live our lives as well. So thank you so much for just being a part of the behavioral health community, and just all your contributions are very, very well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you have a passion for that too. And that's something that you want to do as well. I mean, it's so needed. There's still such a stigma surrounding mental health. And I hope we can kind of break those barriers and normalize it in a way that it should be already.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I know there are so many young people that are intrigued with nursing. They're gaining their nursing degrees, and just hearing your story and you being on this podcast just gives them a broad idea of the different ways that they can utilize their nursing degree. So we really appreciate you for coming on. But I do have a question. What would you suggest to those people that are interested in nursing or are considering gaining their nursing degree?
If they're considering going into the healthcare field, I think it's really important to have some sort of understanding of what that entails, especially post-COVID. Things have changed so much in healthcare. I would strongly suggest getting your CNA license. And I mean, you can get that after, I think when you turn, I think it used to be 16. I don't know. Every state's different probably, but to obtain your CNA license and get some experience at the hospital, in nursing homes, that type of thing, just to kind of see if that's something that you could see yourself doing. That gives you a good foundation anyway of being a nurse. That's going to help you so much, even with your clinical time and that type of thing, because you're going to have that experience already. Also, reaching out to any other nurses that they may know to see if they can shadow with them. I think that's a really great way to see if that may be the career path for you. I think the beautiful thing about nursing is there are so many different pathways that you can take that it's really difficult to not find something that you love. So, I mean, if you're interested in surgery, you can be a surgical nurse. If you're interested in, babies, you can work the OB unit. There's just so many career opportunities in that field. I think probably more so than most other fields. So it's really hard to get burnout on the job if you are able to move into a different direction within that same field.
Now, for someone that has, a lot of interest, how do you suggest that they narrow down their options?
When you're in nursing school, you have clinicals. You do clinicals in all fields. So you do clinicals with med surg, geriatrics, psych, OB. So that really gives you a better understanding of what your role would be when you complete nursing school. I mean, I think a lot of, especially young women, go into nursing and they're like, I want to be an OB nurse, the babies, it's just so great. But you don't think about also the grief that position holds as well. Something doesn't go exactly as planned. And so that's something that can be really eye-opening, during school and during your clinicals. And I saw in my class, a lot of people were set on, I'm going to be an OB nurse. And then after our OB rotation, they're like, I don't think I'm going to do that now. So like I said, there's so many other options that they fell in love with something that they hadn't even considered prior to starting school. So just kind of neat to see that play out.
Right. Well, I'm glad you shared that. Thank you for sharing, because I know it's hard to narrow down, what we want to do in life, but it always changes. Our experiences changes that. So I know somebody out there needed to hear this.
My kid, I have twins that are sophomores, and they're like, we have no idea what we want to do. I'm like, I get that,
Yeah.
I don't expect to graduate high school and then automatically know, this is exactly what I want to do with the rest of my life. Like that's, you're barely an adult, when you graduate. So it's just hard. It's hard to know.
That's a good mindset to have, especially for them. They probably want to step into your footsteps or just automatically do what you're doing. And it's definitely important to implement that they have their own lives, and that this point in time is going to go by really fast. So they should just enjoy where they are right now. But you are in a very hands-on position, and it can definitely be emotionally taxing. So what does self-care look like for you, or what does a day to recharge look like for you?
Thankfully, I have a very supportive husband. Some days are really hard here, and it's hard not to carry that home sometimes. So there are days when I go home, it's not often, but I'm like, I just really don't want to talk to anyone. I'm just at that point where, I'm just emotionally done for the day. And he, navigates that beautifully. Honestly, he understands and allows me to take like the time that I need, whether it be get a hot shower and read a book and just chill in, the bedroom for the night. Or if I need to go, to dinner with friends and, do something like that, do a little girl trip. That's what I like to do. I like to go on trips with my girlfriends. So I try to make that a priority. Just, self-care stuff too, like going and getting a massage or getting out in nature. So I really try to remember to do that. It's hard sometimes, when you work a high stress job and then you also have 3 kids and, are trying to manage all of that and support them as best you can. But I've learned through the years of doing this that it's so important to take care of me, because if not, then I'm not good for anyone else, including the patients that I serve.
Right.
So, and, I work with such a great group of individuals, and that makes it so much easier too, when you really have work friends that rally around and you can vent to each other, and just, it's just nice to have. It's more like a family than anything. So that's a huge benefit.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I know this is going to be really helpful for our listeners.
Very helpful. I know in the behavioral health field, it's important.
Go get your nails done. Go get a pedicure. Go do what you need to take time for you.
Yeah. Build that strong support system too.
Absolutely.
Ms. Ward, thank you so much for meeting with us today. I know you're really busy, and we're really grateful for you setting aside time to meet with us. And I know that this is going to be really beneficial to some of our behavioral health students, our nursing students, just overall in general. You were able to share some really beneficial information. So thank you so much for coming out today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for doing this. I think it's really great that you're exploring different career paths, especially in the mental health arena. And, it's something that you really have to be passionate about to serve such a vulnerable population. So I think that would just be my final thoughts is make sure that whatever you do in life, make sure that it's something that you love and that you find your passion. So that way you can serve in the best way possible, not just for your clients, but for yourself as well.
I agree. That's a great takeaway.
Yeah. Words of wisdom.
Are you calling me old? I'm just kidding.
You just have a lot of experience and education. Wise. Yep, there it is. Wise woman. You literally have it all. The family, the education, the work. You have it all. So
I feel very blessed. Like you have no idea. That's not lost on me that I know exactly what I had dreamed of. And it's also not lost on me that these clients trust me with such vulnerable corners of their lives. That's a heavy burden for them to carry alone. So I'm so thankful to be able to help them through that.
Beautiful.
I know they appreciate you, Ms. Ward.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to our podcast, brought to you by the Smart Connections podcast from the Smart Center at the University of Memphis, as well as the Pathways to Behavioral Health Careers Project. If you or anyone you know needs any information from the Smart Center, please contact us at 901-678-1636 or email us at smartcenter@memphis.edu. You can also learn more about us at our website, memphis.edu/smartcenter.